Disney's California Adventure has undergone a huge amount of change over the last few years, but has Disney gone about it entirely in the wrong way?
Your attention, please.
What is shaking, everyone? Welcome back. We've talked about this topic many times before, but Disney's California Adventure is in an identity crisis. They're in a loop. They don't know what to do with it. At least compared to what it was. When it was all about California, it had a centralized theme. Everything in the park was about California. But now it's become just this whole mishmash of different parts, different movies, and different ideas thrown into one massive park. Now, back in 2001, when DCA first opened, it was all about California. It was from the Redwood Forest, the Golden Gate Bridge, Hollywood, everything California was in this park. So guests coming could experience California without having to go very far or travel up and down the coast, because California is a very big state, but all of this fit into one park. Now, the only problem is Disney didn't take into consideration a lot of the annual pass holders and a lot of guests coming to Disneyland are from California. So why would a Californian want to spend more time in California? Disney or Disneyland is a place to escape, is a place to get away from reality. But if you're from California and you're going into DCA or into Disney's California Adventure, you're just kind of staying home. You're not escaping that reality and going into a futuristic land or a fantasy land or adventure, frontier, whatever it might be. It was just a park about where you're from, and that didn't appeal to the masses that were from California. But don't get me wrong, there were plenty of guests from around the world, from around the US, that came to DCA to see the California experience, to experience California and what it has to hold. And it also kind of gave interest and intrigue to these guests that weren't from California to maybe explore the state itself. Not just to come and see the park, but maybe they saw the Redwood Creek Trail and challenged that area and said, hey, let's actually go and see this Redwood Creek Trail. Or somebody maybe hasn't seen the Golden Gate Bridge and they see the giant bridge above, well, it wasn't Buena Vista Street then, but you see the Golden Gate Bridge and, hey, let's actually go and see the Golden Gate Bridge. Now, that did come into play, but that's kind of taking guests away from DCA. That's not pulling guests in. Yeah, you're coming in, but then they're leaving to go see other things. It wasn't a thing to see in itself. Disneyland was still the crown jewel. DCA was just kind of tagging along, as a way you could put it. They were just kind of tagging along. People would go and see it. It was a half-day park. It wasn't a full, let's go see DCA. So that's where I think Disney has now gone about this whole process of revitalizing and rejuvenating DCA completely wrong. They could have done this differently, and it definitely could have helped. Now, from 2001 until 2007, 2008, right about in that range, DCA didn't change much. It was still all about that California idea. Yes, they switched out Superstar Limo. They switched out the little farming area, the farming community. That was where Bugs Land is, and now is where Marvel Land is going. But there wasn't a massive overhaul. Well, that all changed in 2008. Now, or I should say 2007 when they first made the announcement. But when the giant lagoon, the Paradise Bay, around the Paradise Pier area, when that was drained in 2008, and I visited the park in December of 2008, it was all construction walls everywhere. They were completely revamping Paradise Pier and DCA in general, which it really needed. It really needed this revitalization, something to change to draw more people in. It wasn't a crown jewel. It wasn't something you wanted to necessarily see. It was more of an add-on to your Disneyland trip. So everything started to change in 2008 when they added World of Color. Shortly thereafter, they added Ariel's Undersea Adventure. So they slowly started to bring IP things over into DCA. They started to add nightlife. They're trying to boost it. And I can see the nightlife. I can see World of Color. It's a fantastic show. Little Mermaid didn't quite fit for me because it was like the first ride that wasn't about California. That it was an IP stuck into this park. It was kind of the first one, massive project, I should say. So that's where the snowball started to roll. started to form. And then when Cars Land came, it completely changed the face of DCA. In 2012, Cars Land officially opened, and it is still extremely packed. But the thing that Cars Land did was it kind of gave Disney the confidence to build more IP-based, movie-based lands, because Cars Land was such a success, and it still is. It is still extremely packed. You can go any time of the week and still see Radiator Springs racers well over an hour wait. There's times where it's 3 hours, so it's still extremely popular. But this gave Disney, I think, a false hope. I shouldn't say a false hope, but it gave them kind of like a false reality that these IP-based lands will work, and they will. They've proven to work. But the hard part is we don't know how long. The movies fall out of shape, fall out of form, people start watching them. Things could happen, but we've talked about that in a whole different video. I don't want to dive into that. But again, it kept changing DCA's identity. It was no longer Disney's California Adventure. It's now a mishmash of different IPs and movie-based attractions and lands. Next was Mission Breakout. That was the next big addition into DCA, followed by Paradise Pier becoming Pixar Pier. Now we have the announcement of Marvel Land and the construction for Marvel Land. So once again, this whole once California-based park, Disney California Adventure, now has Marvel Land. It has the Mission Breakout, which is Guardians of the Galaxy, which is Marvel. It has Cars Land. It has attractions like Ariel, Monsters Inc. It's Pixar Pier. It's got an Incredicoaster, Inside Out. It's no longer about California. Yes, you can go over to Redwood Creek Trails and still see that old California experience. You can still ride Soaring. It still kind of brings back memories of soaring over California, but it's no longer California. It's just soaring around the world. So DCA has truly lost the C of DCA, the California feel, that California touch. And this is how Disney could have fixed this, solved it, and had no complaints, no ifs, ands, or buts, and it would have just made sense. Rewinding back to 2007 when they first announced this massive overhaul, they could have closed down DCA completely. Just completely shut it down. Close the gates. Close it for 2 years, however long it takes. Close it for 2 years, 3 years, whatever it takes. And revamp it. Now, I understand Disney didn't have all the licensings that they do now, from owning Marvel, owning 20th Century Fox, owning everything that they do, fully owning Pixar. I understand that. But they could have put in different pieces. You could have put in different IPs. You could have completely demoed certain areas of the park and remastered them, remodeled, brought in these IPs, brought in these movies, and create almost a second Disneyland. Now, it wouldn't be exactly, it would be more like a Hollywood Studios, where it has IP movies. Hollywood Studios in Florida was all about filming and all that kind of things, but it has now become like everything that can't fit in Magic Kingdom, they put in Hollywood Studios. That is essentially what you could have done with DCA if you would have closed it down completely in 2007, 2008. Close it down completely, remodel, revamp, add what you need to do, take what you need to do, and reopen it with a brand new name. Disney has shown, especially with Hollywood Studios, it wasn't Hollywood Studios. It used to be Disney's MGM Studios. Then they switched it to Hollywood Studios. So you could easily change DCA's name to fit more what is inside of the park. I have no idea what you could name it. You could just say Disney's Adventures, Disney's Film Adventures. The way they're going now, it could just be Pixar Park. Most of it's Pixar except for Marvel. But you could have renamed it. You could have dropped the Disney's California Adventure part. You could have just done Disney's Adventures. Simple enough. They could have redone it, not had the confusion of the California part, because it is definitely no longer Disney California Adventure. It is a mishmash of different Pixar, Marvel, different movie-based and IP-based attractions. So what do you think? Should Disney have closed down DCA entirely in 2007 or 2008 and completely remodeled and revamped the entire park? When they added Buena Vista Street, they could, you could switch Paradise Pier. You could put in whatever Marvel, or they didn't own Marvel then, but you could put in whatever IP-based attraction you wanted. And then reopened it a whole different park. It just seems to make sense. It seems like they should have done it that way. They shouldn't have just left it and kept adding things and still kept trying to fit under the moniker of Disney's California Adventure, because it truly does not represent California whatsoever anymore. So what is your opinion? How do you think Disney should have handled this? Should they have closed everything, or do you like how they've done it and eventually they'll change the name someday down the line? So leave your comment. I'm really curious to see what your opinion is, because I've heard a lot of people complain that they should change the name. We've talked about it before on here. What is your opinion on how should they have handled this massive overhaul? So that is going to do it for today. I hope you all enjoyed. If you haven't done so already, give this video a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell if you want to be notified when other videos like this or other park adventure videos are uploaded. And as always, if you are at any of the Disney parks, tell Mickey and Minnie I say hi. And I will see you all a little later.